He says, yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? What is your life? For you are a mist. It appears for a little time and then vanishes. The idea of mist here is the idea of vapor. You have a coffee cup and you make it in the morning, and you know how it has the little thingy that comes out, what you call vapor. How long does that last? Not long. Not long. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or do that. Listen, in order to live authentically, we must be set apart in our perspectives. Life is short. Don't waste it. Most of us won't last double what we've already lived. That's not supposed to scare us, Christian. We're to be set apart. You see what James is saying? He's saying, man, these things that happen in our life are there for a reason. Now ours is to stand up and reflect the Christ-likeness. Jesus lived for 3 years in his ministry, 33 years, and he died. Look at us. We're celebrating him. We're worshiping him because he's God. And that ought to change us so that the remaining years, if you still have 1 day or 100 years in your life, make every day count. You say, how? You start asking the Lord how. For some of you, it means taking a completely different direction in your life. It means changing jobs. It might mean going back to your marriage. It might mean making decisions, ending relationships. It might mean breaking friendships. It might mean stopping certain habits in your life. Make every day count, because it's going like vapor. Listen, that is a good thing. That is not a bad thing. That is a God thing. I was listening, I was reading in the internet recently, came across an illustration. I'm going to end with it. It sort of applies, but I like it so much, and I felt like I really wanted to tell this story, and I think it has an application here. But a group of frogs was going on a walk in the woods, and 2 of them fell into a pit. You know that story? It's a great story. 2 fell in the pit. All the frogs gathered around the pit, and it was a very deep pit, and they looked down and saw these 2 frogs, and they started jumping up, trying to get out of the pit, and they couldn't because it was so high, and they kept saying them, these people around the pit were like, the frogs around the pit were like, you're not going to make it. Just give up. Just give up. You're not going to make it. And this went on and on and on. They kept yelling at him, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. And eventually, one of the 2 frogs, he sort of bought it and said, you're right, I'm not going to make it. Laid down and died. And the other frog kept jumping and jumping and jumping. And they kept saying, you're not going to make it. Stop trying. And he kept jumping and jumping. And what do you know? Eventually, he jumped high enough and made it out of the pit. And they came to him and said, dude, I can't believe you made it out. How'd you do it? He goes, what are you talking about? I thought you were encouraging me. He goes, I'm deaf. I don't hear. And all this time you've been yelling at me. I thought you were cheering me on. And they were like, dude, awesome. And I believe sometimes in the Christian life, we're like those 2 little frogs. And there's stuff coming at us, and there's stuff coming at us, and there's stuff coming at us. Who are you listening to? Are you listening to people around you who are constantly dragging you back into a lifestyle of sin, a friendship with the world, and are you giving up and dying, you're wasting your life? Or is your ears muffled to the voice of naysayers? Are your ears open to the voice of the Lord? When we open God's word and read these words that we've been reading tonight, listen, it doesn't matter what I say about them, it's what the Lord has spoken. And so now what do you do with it is your responsibility. God sort of says, here's what I think. How does your life match up to it? And what are you going to do about it?